Social Security's purchasing power has declined by 36% since the year 2000. Let's try not to laugh. All right, so let's dive into this. I saw this article from the Fool. You a fool. Social Security's 2024 COLA is giving retirees the short end of the stick. Interesting. Let's take a why we hear that is. Let's see what they say here. All right, so we're going to look at in nominal dollars, the average worker can expect their monthly check to increase by $59 a month. All right. And although that might feel like a win on paper, you're getting shafted, guy. You're getting shafted. All right. So right here, according to the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior advocacy group, Social Securities have risen by COLAs have risen by approximately 78% since January of 2000. Between January of 2000 and February 2023. So COLAs have risen by 78%. But according to them, compare aggregate costs of living adjustments since January 2000 to collective price increase for a basket of dozens of goods and services, you're liable to be disappointed because that basket of dozens of goods and services has gone up a staggering 141%. So Social Security COLAs have gone up 78%, and according to the Senior Citizens League, that basket of goods has gone up 141. Why? The culprit is none other than the CPIW. I can't believe these. All right, let's keep reading. CPIW covers urban wage earners and clerical workers. All right, and so more importantly, those who are being covered in CPIW are workers, and you're retired, so you're not a worker. You're going to spend your money differently than the 86% of Social Security beneficiaries. So they're basically pulling something out of their butt saying, oh, we use CPIW, you should use something else. And you need to get my book, dude. I cover all this in this book right here. I cover this because it's so stupid. All right, let's keep going. Relative to younger workers, retirees spend a higher percentage of their monthly budget on Medicare, medical care, and shelter expenses. That's correct. For medical care. And it's correct for shelter expenses. Relative to younger workers, retirees spend a higher percentage of their monthly budget. All right? That doesn't mean the monthly budget and your monthly disposable income are two completely different things. So we're going to look at the BLS here. We're going to look right here. The BLS. Age of reference person, average annual expenditure means, shares, standard errors, and coefficients of variation. Consumer expenditure. I can't have a hard time talking today. Consumer Expenditure Survey 2021. All right. So in 2021, all consumers. We're going to scroll down here. What did they spend? And again, if you don't, you got to get. I put the link in the show notes. Buy this doggone thing. I cover it all in detail. It's great. It's a great book. I love that book. So the entirety of the people they surveyed, 133,000 people. How much did they spend on their housing? All right, so first of all, we got 65% were homeowners, all right? And of those on their housing, they spent, right here, keep going down, going to be right down here. Hold on just a second, right there. They spent 33.8% of their expenditures, not their income, their expenditures on housing. 33.8. All right. All those people over 65 right here, they spent how much on housing? Right here. Shelter right here on housing. 35.6. So you're like, see, they spent more. They spent more of their expenditures as a percentage on housing. Yet if we look at right here, 36.2, excuse me, 36.2. So they spent 36.2% of their expenditures on housing, those people over 65 versus 33.8 for the consumer units as a whole. 37 for people under 25, 35 for people 25 to 34, 33, 31, 32. Of their expenditures. I cannot stress this enough. Why do I keep saying that? Because your income does not equate to your expenditures. I'm just telling you right now it doesn't. I talk to people all the time, especially when RMDs come around. As they get older, they have more money coming in than is going out the door. They just do. Now, watch this too. I want to show you something else. Again, I talk about my book. So, again, buy my book. We're going to go to housing consists of shelters, the big one here. And here's 19.8% of the entirety of the 133,000 people spend about 20% of their expenditures on shelter, and 19.9 of people over 65 do. So not a huge divergence there. But check this out. We're going to go to homeowner. You ready? Watch this. So the entirety of the population as a whole, 133,000 units, 65% were homeowners. 38% of those people had a mortgage, and 35% had no mortgage, had a rent right there. All right, so 65% were homeowners, of which 38% of that group right here had a mortgage. 27% did not, and the rest were renters. Now watch me go over here to over 65. 78% are homeowners. 53% have no mortgage. 25% have a mortgage, and 22% are renters. What jumps out at you here? Oh man, hold a second. See here, bring my face up there. 82% of those under 25 are renters. 56% of those people under 35 are renters. 40% under 55 are renters, under 65, and then the rest you can see 25% are renters if you're over the age of 65. Of that, 42% own their homes outright without any, that's right here, excuse me. 22% are renters, 25, right there. 53% own their homes outright. All right, so mortgagees, right here, 25%. Do they have increasing expenditures on their mortgage? No, because it doesn't. How many people have adjustable rate mortgages every year? What, 1 in 100, if that? They have increasing mortgage expense? No, because they're fixed cost. They have their mortgages paid off. These people might. Do their rents go up each and every year? I don't think so. Anyway, so the point being is what these guys are saying here is they're saying shelter expenses consume more of the monthly budget. Yes, but the monthly budget does not equate, my friends, to total income. That's the drawback here. They're saying, well, your monthly budget is going up. Well, it's just simply not true when it comes to total income. Your budget and your income are two completely different things. And I just showed you. Now, again, of your expenditures, you're spending less money, 100%. But you're not spending less money because you ran out, as I talk about in this book. Again, for the millionth time, I'm making a sales pitch for you here. So it's just stupid. Now, the interesting thing is, what exactly is that basket of goods? Well, if we look at CPIE that they're going to talk about here, let me show you right. Oh, let me sidetrack. Now, let me come back to that. They're going to say CPIE. Where was it? Right here. Hold on just a second. So basically, Democrats prefer swapping out the CPIW with the CPIE. All right. And the Republicans want to do the chain consumer price index. All right. So let's just look at my book here where I talk about the difference between CPIE, CPIW, and CPIU, which is what we use for regular inflation numbers. The BLS for what our inflation rates are is based on CPIU. Hold on a second here. CPIE, and it's from my book. In 1987, recognizing there may be a difference in the consumption spending of elderly Americans relative to the population as a whole, Congress instructed the BLS to create an inflation measure called the CPIE. CPIE, the E stands for elderly. Interesting, in the first 25 years of its use, the CPIE inflation was higher than the other CPI measurements, CPIW and CPIU, coming in at all of 3.3% a year, where CPIU is 3.1 and CPIW is 3%. So we're talking 30 basis points a year. All right, big deal there. Now, what accounted for the higher inflation for CPIE? Simple. Medical costs were weighted at 10.81% of total expenditures, much higher than CPIU and double that of CPIW. Housing, though, was also weighted higher for CPIE. 47% of the entirety of the inflation for CPIE was reflected in housing. If your mortgage is paid off, yeah, you're gonna have a little bit increase in property tax. I just talked to emailed a guy from Texas. His property tax went down because they have there's a new law in Texas. Once you hit 65, you don't have the same increase in property tax. In fact, in this case, once you hit 65, you get another homestead exemption or something like that. Anyways, very interesting. So in my book, I talk about that housing now is a bigger, you're not going to be able to see this very well, but that's housing right there. CPIE, the top. Housing is a #1 expense. Transportation does drop a little bit. That's nice. Medical care does go up, which is good. But housing becomes by far and away the #1 expense. However, here is CPIE. Shelter is 37.362% of housing cost. Shelter. Rent of primary residence is another 4.62. Now, what is shelter? Oh, owner's equivalent rent right there, 31.393, as I've talked about a million times a Sunday. So for the Senior Citizens League, to sit there and assume that you're not keeping up with Social Security COLAs because of OER and rent of primary residence, which right there was about 36% total of CPIE. Well, that's just dumb, man. It's just dumb. In fact, I use my reality CPIE, and what I say is that you should have about, if you actually look at, here's your food and beverage, here's your housing costs relative to CPIE. Housing costs is only 10% as part of the CPI of your inflation. Why? Because your mortgage is paid off. The vast majority of homeowners have a mortgage paid off once they're over 65. Not the vast majority, a significant majority. All right. So they're using 47.3. I'm using 10.07. Apparel is about the same. Transportation is much lower too, because you're just not buying and selling newer used vehicles. I'm buying a newer lease or new vehicle. You're just not newer used vehicle. I got Medicare care coming in, the same thing as CPI does. And yet, if you look at it, I'm saying the total reality CPI is only about 54% of what the reality of what the CPIE is. Right? That's what I'm saying. I said, dude, it's not even close. Your CPI, once you're retired and your home is paid off and you're not buying new and used vehicles, is about 55% of what the CPIE is. Which means, guess what? It means your Social Security benefit is keeping up more than your rate of inflation because they're using it and stuff that's not it just doesn't affect you at all. It's just that simple. Now, lastly, I just want to point out a good chuckle at this. I was chuckling the night away right here. Let's see. On the same day Social Security is announced, the CMS unveiled a 6% increase for Part B for the upcoming year to go from 164 to 174. This increase was primarily being driven by the Food and Drugs. Now they're approving a new Alzheimer's drug called Leqembi, which can cost up to $26,000 a year without insurance. A sizable uptick in Medicare Part B premiums is expected to somewhat or fully offset the more modest 3.2% COLA passed in 2024. That's weird. So let's go over here, and this is the other article. Let's take a look at a dual hem here. Let me see what we got. Hold on a second. 2023 Medicare premiums actually declined. Why? Lower than anticipated cost of the Alzheimer's drug Aduhelm. Aduhelm. And you don't remember, but I do. In fact, I wrote about it in my book. Aduhelm was very controversial. How an unproven Alzheimer's drug got approved. Cost and controversy are limiting the use of new Alzheimer's drugs. So obviously that didn't go over well. In fact, what we see here is that you're going to show that when Medicare, they basically said, we're not going to cover that unless you're in a clinical trial, essentially. But yet they were knee-deep, they were hip to cover that. You and I are going to cover it with massive Medicare increases. Well, I'm not a Medicare yet, but it certainly will be. And I talk about in my book here too. Such a scam, dude. So I don't know the first thing about this other stupid one, Leqembi or whatever the hell it's called. So who made Aduhelm? Let's take a look. Biogen makes Aduhelm. So they're going to get bank. They thought they're going to get bank. I don't have my stock. I wonder what Biogen stock has done. We'll take a look here in just a second. Let's see who makes the other. Leqembi. Let's see who makes it. ISA Inc. What the hell is that? ISA Inc. Let me guess. Hunter Biden's on the board there. Like, what kind of process did this go through to get processed? SA and Biogen. Oh, Biogen's part of it. Oh, there you go. That's how they skirted the negative around Aduhelm. Well, let's just take a look at Biogen's stock here. All right, well, it's getting smoked after hours. So let's just look at 5 years. It hasn't got crushed the way I would have thought. That's pretty, from 328 to 1 right there. 195, it got crushed, come back up here. So anyway, I mean, that's obviously probably when the, right here, 318 to 1, what's that, 234. Yeah, it's not as much as I would have thought. Not like Pfizer. What's Pfizer? No, that's not, that was Pfizer. I thought Pfizer's PFE. Oh, PFE, right. Watch Pfizer. Couldn't happen to a better group of people. Actually, I want to show you Moderna. Could not have happened to a cooler group of people. Here's Pfizer down to 31 from 51. Let's look at Moderna though. MOD. Because remember, this is Moderna's first vaccine. They were down 7% yesterday. Yeah, couldn't have happened to a better group of people, these guys. Look at that. 384 down to 72. And no PE ratio? What? Could not have happened to a better group of people. Earnings per share losing $9 a share because that's their only vaccine. But no, if FDA, and they hear the FDA now, they're looking at Travis, no, look at him, but Travis Kelce says 2 for the price of 1 jab thing. The FDA is like, yeah, we're not so sure that's safe and effective. I was like, okay. And so Pfizer, not Biogen, Moderna, they're like, ah. I mean, Johnson Johnson even doing vaccines anymore. What is that, AstraZeneca? The whole thing's crazy. Anyway, that's what, Medicare. So they're desperate to get an Alzheimer's drug to be approved by Medicare so people can start raking, not us, of course, but those companies can start raking in the money. What is the company? Eisai? Let's just look at Eisai. I haven't heard of Eisai. What the hell is that? Eisai? Yeah, right there. Eisai. It's 5. What is that? A 5-letter ticker. Yeah, OTC. So it's a. Yeah. What the hell is Eisai? Let's take a look. It's a Japanese pharmaceutical company headquartered in Tokyo. And they're going to make bank off us, man. Had the same CEO since 1988. Subsidiaries Arterex. What? I mean, established in 1941. Company acquired 4 oncology from Ligand Pharmaceuticals. I wonder who is on the. They got the board here. I guarantee there's some big heavy hitters in the United States on the board. Why else would freaking Eisai be? I mean, look at that, dude. It's in the Nikkei in Japan. Company has manufacturing sites in Japan, North Carolina, Maryland. Yeah. That's just weird to me. They received a corporate award from National Organization of Rare Disorders for the development of Bonsai. In 2023, it suffered from a ransomware attack causing a shutdown of some logistical systems. Yeah, I don't trust these guys as far as I could kick them. Any of those guys, frankly. And that's just a fact. That doesn't mean all pharmaceuticals are bad. Why would you trust corporate America? Why? I mean, after 2020, why would you trust them? If it's corporate America, you're crazy. I just trust them. No, don't trust. Trust but verify? No, there's no trust but verify. Those days for me are gone. But corporate America, they're just looking to maximize profits. Exactly. Anyway, so there you go. So it's just silly, dude. And when you actually look at the reality of CPI, of your own inflation, relative to your expenditures and income, relative to your housing costs. Come here. Everyone wants to see Pablo. Come here. Everybody wants to see him. Oh, here goes Pablo. Got to make a... There he is. My name is Pablo. Don't give me your shots. I don't want your shots because I don't trust you. Look at all your shots that made me look like I have meth teeth. Look at those meth teeth. And I'm not even on meth. It's just all your shots, everybody. Dude, if you can't laugh, something wrong with you. All right. Love your thoughts. And remember, by the way, if you buy some stuff on Amazon, it's got a big purchase, some guy on my link. Yeah, freaking maybe $35. Much obliged. If you buy some stuff on Amazon, use my link. It's in the doobly dook. I got to start promoting that. Just click on it, my link, and buy your stuff and buy stuff on Amazon. Feed me, baby. Feed me. I got 4 kids and 2 dogs. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.